Two of the Americans taken hostage by Hamas on October 7th have been released. They were escorted over the Israeli border by the Red Cross, but hundreds of other hostages remain in Hamas custody, and the humanitarian crisis across the entire region is only getting worse. Joining me now, Martin Schwepp. He is the Director of Operations for the International Committee of the Red Cross. Martin, I want to start by just thanking you for all that you are doing. Help us understand, how urgent is the situation in Gaza right now?
Thank you very much for having me. The human misery we've seen unfolding over the last days in Israel and in Gaza is really devastating. There's too many people who have been killed, injured, taken away, who are now have been forced to leave their homes. And many of them are forced to sleep out in the open with very little food, water. And so we see a humanitarian situation that is extremely dire and is becoming worse by every hour that goes by.
The rhetoric around this war is so heated. What do you want the world to know about the everyday people who are literally caught in this crossfire?
Indeed, there's a lot of rhetoric. We need to focus on the human suffering that this armed conflict generates for many civilians, children, elderly, mothers, daughters that are impacted, deeply impacted by the hostilities every day. They should not be the center of this conflict. They should be protected, their rights should be protected, and we call on all sides to respect their obligations under international humanitarian law to protect any civilian from harm.
I know your organization is also trying to gain access to the hostages that are being held by Hamas. What are you trying to accomplish? Do you think you can help with their release?
What we are insisting is on three things in particular: that all hostages should be released. But barring that, we're also working to get access to them, to check on their situation, insisting that they receive what they need. Some of them might need medication or other things, but also advocating that they're allowed to communicate with their families, to send a message to their families. We are in contact with the families, and we see and hear from them how much agony they are going through when not knowing what happened to their loved one.
Even if you do get humanitarian relief into Gaza over the next few days, what do you think the long-term effects could be like? People have lost everything, and Israel hasn't even invaded yet.
It's really hard to predict now the long-term effects of what is happening these days. What is clear is that the human suffering is already immense, and the emergency needs are huge right now. We need to get more help to people who are suffering every day, and every hour the situation gets worse. At the same time, we also know that much of the essential infrastructure is destroyed, deeply affected, and rebuilding that will take a lot of time. But beyond the essential services, beyond the water, the electricity, it's also the scars for many families who might have lost a loved one that will take years to heal.
Martin, you and your team respond to crises around the world, helping the most vulnerable people in some of the worst situations. How do you stay hopeful, especially at a moment like this when it feels like things are only going to get worse?
If you work for the International Committee of the Red Cross, the ICRC, by definition, you need to be hopeful. You need to focus on what you can do for people. Each time we are able to reunite a child with their parents, each time we're able to bring information about somebody who has been taken away, who is detained, to their family, each time we can improve the access to water, to health, we also see that there is something we can do. There is not only despair, but there is also hope that we can help, even in the most dire of situations.
Martin, thank you for everything that you are doing. We are sending you love and prayers, and good luck in the days ahead.